Hi everybody, welcome back to Read and Reread. I'm Angelia and today I'm doing my October TBR, or really October maybes, big pile of possible reads. And as always, I have a lot of things I'm thinking about and I don't know for sure which ones I'm actually going to get to because I'm kind of a mood reader. And as I finish a book and think about the next book I want to read, sometimes what I thought I wanted to read next changes dramatically because of the mood that I kind of have concluded with from the previous book. Sometimes I want to go a different direction. So, anyway, that's my disclaimer. And in case you ever wonder about all these books I mentioned that somehow never end up in the wrap up at the end of the month. I'm putting this video out on Monday this month. I usually do Tuesday videos, but we are going out of town on a little road trip tomorrow to visit my in-laws. So, and it's already October 3rd, so I figure I'll just do it today, and then I'll be back at the end of the week and do Friday reads. All right, so first of all, the first book that I'm very, very excited about is not here, that just came out, which is Shrines of Gaiety by Kate Atkinson. And it came out last Tuesday, but I have not purchased it yet because I have been talking about this book for months and dropping lots and lots of hints about it, and my birthday's coming up in a couple of days. So we shall see if my hints have fallen onto the right ears, and if not, I will order that book shortly, and I'm very excited about reading it. I think I might save it for another trip that's coming up later this month, but we will see. Okay, so that, whenever that book will be read when it comes to me. Then we have Victober. So the celebration of Victorian era literature in the month of October. And there is an official Victober challenge that has 5 categories and a group read. And I am not going to do that because I just don't want to read that many Victorian novels. I did look at the challenge prompts and I thought they were really good, and I thought they would be fun to do. But I just, I only want to read like 1 or 2 because I have so many other books in the hopper that I want to read. So, and then I think the group read was The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. And frankly, that did not appeal to me. So, nothing against Thomas Hardy, but I just wasn't in the mood. So anyway, this is my own little personal teeny tiny Victober celebration. I have 3 books picked out. Will I read all 3? Perhaps or perhaps not. Will I switch them out and decide to read a different one instead? Possibly. But I have, do that one in a second. I've got The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, which would be a reread. And I have a few Wilkie Collins books, one of which I've never read, which was Armadale. And that was in that video I made about books that I've had for years and years and haven't read. But I still don't feel like reading it. And because for some reason I've just really drawn, I want to read The Moonstone again. I've been wanting to read it again for about a year. So I think that now is the time. When I just looked through and kind of flipped through a couple of Wilkie Collins books, I just really felt like reading The Moonstone. So I think that's the one that I'm going to read. And then also I got a set of Charles Dickens books for Mother's Day, and I read Great Expectations in the summer. So I feel like I want to read another book from my set. And I think I'm going to try Oliver Twist. Again, I have never read this. It was Dickens' second novel, I believe, that he wrote. And it is frequently recommended for beginners. And I'm not really a beginner, but I don't really feel like reading one of the really, really challenging ones this month with all the other things I have in mind. So I feel like this one might be a little bit on the shorter side, and I really don't know anything about it. I mean, I've never seen an Oliver Twist movie or stage show. I just know it's like about orphans living on the street in London. That's it. That's my entire background knowledge of Oliver Twist. So I hope it's a fun read, but that's what I have in mind. Then I also have this little guy that I have brought out before but never gotten to, which is Three Men in a Boat, which is just kind of a silly little book about three guys and a dog taking a ride down the River Thames. And it's light and short. And so since I have a couple of travels in this month, I think I might throw it in on one of those trips as a little go along, like for if your book runs out or something, because it's thin and light and non-taxing. So that's my Victorian lineup. There's a couple of Bronte books that I don't have that I've been on the lookout for, but I just don't have them, so they didn't make it in right now. But in the future, if I do track down I'm looking for a nice hardback secondhand copy of Agnes Grey and Shirley. And whenever they manifest into my life, I will read them, and it doesn't matter that they are not in October. Okay, so my next category of books to read or consider are a stack of library books that I just got. And I got one of those library floods where you request a bunch of books and it looks like they're all at different stages of when they're going to come in, but they don't. Instead of staggering, you suddenly get a notification that you have like 4 books waiting, and it's like, oh no. So hopefully, if no one else requests them, I'll be able to renew them and read as many of them as I wish. And if not, I might have to give something up and then re-request it, but we'll see. Usually when I check out, whatever I check out from the library, I don't read them all. Some of them, I either get them again later, or I just change my mind about them because I picked them up randomly, and then when I looked through them, I wasn't really feeling it. So, but here's what we got going. This book I'm about 2/3 of the way through, Denise Mina's Confidence. Now, this is a sequel or a book 2 with the same characters of her book Conviction. I have a video about really good recent mysteries and thrillers, and I talk about Conviction in that video. But Conviction, if you haven't read Conviction, you need to go back and read that before you read Confidence, because there's a lot of background, and it's sort of quickly referred to in this book, but it's not really explained that well. Conviction has a great beginning where there's a woman who she has a husband and these 2 daughters, and she likes every day, like once they all get out of the house, she has this habit of listening to true crime podcasts. And then one day everything goes wrong. Her husband announces that he is walking out on her, and he is leaving with her best friend. So they've been having an affair, and they take off. The best friend's husband is a kind of a pop star who's kind of gone out of the limelight, and he has a lot of personal problems. And he comes over, and he is just a mess because his wife has left. And at the same time, her true crime podcast, she realizes that there are some people referred to in the story that she has known, and that her personal secret identity is about to be blown, because she is living a life as somebody else, but she was someone else in the past. So all this happens like in the first few pages of Conviction, and then as the story goes, she and Anna and Finn, the wife and then the husband of the other person who, the 2 people that got dumped, team up, and they're an unlikely duo, and they become true crime podcasters, and they solve a crime. Okay, so in part 2, it begins with a disastrous family vacation. I'm going to talk about it more in Friday Reads, but she plans a really poorly planned out vacation involving all of the people in the blended family, like the ex-husband, his new wife, all the kids, the other ex-husband, and then his new girlfriend. And and then it rains and rains. So that's how it starts. Everybody's miserable. And then they find out about another crime that they want to go off and become involved in for their podcast. So that's how it started. It's like nonstop action so far. I've been reading it really fast, so I'll talk more about it on Friday. Then finally, Better Late Than Never, The Colony by Audrey Mcgee came in for me. So I'm excited to give this a try. It's one of those books where if people were not talking about how fabulous it is and it being and it hadn't been on the Booker long list, I probably never would have picked it up. Like there's nothing about the way that it looks or the description of what it's about that really grabs my attention, but I've heard so many glowing reviews that I want to try it for myself and see what I think. Also from the library, I got the Anomaly by Herve Tellier. I don't have any French, but this was one of those times I heard Bob the Bookerer talking about this, and it sounded really interesting and unusual to me. And then I looked in my journal, and I already had jotted down the title, so I already was like requesting it, and then I'm hearing about it as if I never heard of it before. So anyway, I got a hold of it, and it is about okay, a bunch of people are on a plane, and then there's like some sort of turbulence that causes an anomaly where they split off into like there's a duplicate of everybody. So it's speculative, it's weird. There's this group of people, and I'm not sure exactly what all happens, but it sounded weird and interesting. This one was totally random that I picked it up off the news shelf at the library, but I've read the 2 previous books in this series by Lee Goldberg, who writes mystery novels. His brother, Todd Goldberg, I talked about in my like crazy unhinged thrillers video. But Lee Goldberg, it's a series about this woman who is a detective in the Los Angeles Police Department named Eve, and she has a partner named Duncan, and they investigate crimes in all kinds of fancy neighborhoods in LA. So I like the setting because I've been to LA a number of times, and it's fun to read something set there. And they are fast-paced, just like when you just want like a kind of a mind palette cleanser of a mystery book in between other books. I mean, there's crime and violence and danger and all that, but to me, that's like a brain clearer. So that's what this book is for, and I think it'll be fun. This one is another mystery that I don't know if it's good or not, but I had it written down in my TBR list called The Night Shift by Alex Finley, and it has to do with there was a murder at a Blockbuster Video on New Year's Eve 1999, and then 15 years later there's another murder in the same town at an ice cream store, and it seems similar. And so there's one survivor of each murder, and then a FBI agent who's trying to see if there's a connection and solve these 2 cases. So it could be really good or not, but it sounded good. I guess it had good reviews, or I wouldn't have written it down. So I'm pretty well stacked with the mystery genre, and even including the Moonstone, which is kind of a mystery. And then I have a couple of leftover books from last month's TBR that I'm still really trying to get to. So I have Hamnet that I got at a library book sale, and I'm trying to decide if this is a good travel book or not. Maybe somebody can comment on that. Is this a good one to take on a trip? Like physically, it's a good one because it's light and everything, but is it a good kind of story for like hotels and airplanes and stuff like that? Is it going to engage me, or do I need to be like at home and non-distracted? And then also from the lost books of last month, I have Case Study by Graeme Macrae Burnet, which was another Booker title that did not make it to the short list, but that I still am really eager to read. And I really didn't realize that what I had bought was the UK printing, because I saw something about this book just coming out in the US, but I've had this for a couple of months. So anyway, I guess I got a UK one. And anyway, that one also I'm thinking about. And then last but not least, I've had this one for 2 or 3 months, but I haven't read it yet, but I'm still eager to read it, which is Kindred by Octavia Butler. And this would be speculative fiction about a woman, a contemporary woman who suddenly, I don't know if she has an accident or how it happens, but suddenly she gets thrown back into the slavery times, and she's a black woman. It says she's celebrating her 26th birthday when she is snatched abruptly from her home in California and transported to the antebellum South. So what I don't know, because I haven't read it yet, is she stuck back there the whole time, or does she go back and forth, and do they explain how she time traveled? But I'm up for a time travel novel most of the time, so I've been waiting for the mood to hit me to read this book. So I like this lineup of books because I have some classics, I have some couple of speculative fiction, I have a couple of mysteries, I have one or two historical fiction. So I feel like I have a little bit of everything. The Kate Atkinson is also historical fiction. And so that is what I have. Now, something else might come into the picture, and then I will let you know, but that's what I've got for now. And for videos this month, I'll be doing Friday reads, and I have a couple of fun ideas for October. I want to do a video about the scariest books I've ever read, and I might do one about books with ghosts that aren't necessarily horror or scary stories, but the ghosts are important in the story. So those are my two Octoberish video ideas. So let me know what you think about my TBR pile and what your plans are for this month. And I hope that you have an excellent week. I'll be back again for Friday Reads. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. Thanks and have a great week. Bye-bye.